Hey guys, this is Luke again, and welcome back to another tier list. Man, why am I doing so many of these? But we're on to seasons since season 11 just recently finished. I might as well rank the seasons as well. So let's start with the pilots. The very first thing to come out of Ninjago. It was a very fun adventure. Even if it was only 2 episodes, I feel like that's the main problem with it. It's too short. I feel like if it was up to maybe 4 or 6, I think it would have been better. But the 2 episodes that we got were still good, and it was still a pretty good as well. So I'm gonna put it at B. Season 1, The Stuff of Legend. Now, I want you to, before I put my vote, answer me in the comments. When you think of Ninjago, what season do you think of? Most of the time, or at least the majority of you, will say season 1. Because that's the very first season, very first full season. It has some of the best moments in the entire show. And it's no wonder why it's one of the most loved seasons, and sometimes underrated seasons of all time. It really deserves all the love it can get, so it's going to be up here at S. Then we have season 2, the season with so many different names. It had like 5 different names, like Final Battle, Rise of the Green Ninja, Legacy of the Green Ninja. What? Pick a name and stick with it. I'm going to have to agree with Jay. Pick one and stick with it! Okay, season 2. Yeah, it did have filler in it, which was 6 episodes of filler. Um, it's just that none of the filler besides Ninja Ball Run was terrible. There were a couple of okay ones like Darkness Shall Rise, Pirates vs. Ninja, Double Trouble. Then we had the 2 best ones with Child's Play and Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Those 2 ones, but then the real action starts to kick in. We first met the Overlord. We got to see the Stone Army. We saw Misako. We saw the freaking final battle. Amazing. If that doesn't define amazing, what is it? Then nothing does. So I have to put it B. It would be up here, A, maybe even up to S if it wasn't for those filler episodes. Rebooted. This season gets way too much hate. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's in a technology setting, it ruins the show." That's a total lie. That's a lie. I can't phrase it any other way. It's able to expand beyond what it could do. Even if it means, going out of its way to say, "Oh, we're technologyists." And it teaches us a great lesson at the end of the season that don't over rely on technology, because people are just as important, if not more. We have to find that balance. So, I really love this season just as much as Rise of the Snakes, if not more. My feelings change between those two. Sometimes I think Rebooted is better. Sometimes I think Rise of the Snakes is better. Okay, season 4. Oh, wrong one. A lot of people say this is the best overall season of Ninjago. I heavily disagree. Chen is not a good villain. He's not a good villain at all. He may have a great backstory, but backstory alone does not define a villain, in my opinion. You have to have good fighting, good character, and just overall a good motive. You have to have good in practically everything. His character is absolute garbage. It is absolutely shit. Um, his motive is okay-ish. But he can't fight. He's a pussy. He can't fight if his life depended on him. He's such a bad villain, and the second half of Tournament of Elements is kind of lackluster to me, so I'm gonna have to put it at C. And do not attack me in the comment section. If you do, I will delete your comments. Then we have Possession, another great season. I really loved this season as well. This season was really good. It was dark, it's scary, and it was the first. And it could have been, if Ninjago ended right there, I'd be satisfied. I would have been okay. And well, Moro is, unlike Chen, is a great villain. He has a great motive that's not great motive, great character, great fighting, you know, and he's just great at everything. I actually felt sympathy for Moro because it wasn't really his fault, in my opinion. He was just he just let his ego get to his head, and we all do that. We all have an ego. It's just that sometimes we need to figure out how to calm the ego down. But I really like the season. Definitely deserves the A tier. Then we get to this atrocity, Skybound. D. I fucking hate Skybound. We went from a magnificent season like Possession to a piece of trash that should be forgotten and should not be revered. Why does Skybound exist? It's so bad. It's an unnecessary overload of Jaya. The plot wasn't even that good. It had a 3 episode filler arc. It basically destroyed the characters by making them unimportant just to build off Jay. It had the worst of practically everything. I only liked 4 episodes of this season. 40% of the season I liked. Or at least thought was decent. That's how bad it is. The rest of it sucked. And it deserves to be right down there. Then we have DOTD, Day of the Departed. And the irony about this is, I know this is going to be uploaded on the 30th, but the day I'm recording this is actually the 29th. So, technically, at the time of recording this video, not at the time of uploading the video, but the time of recording it, it's actually Day of the Departed. So, happy Day of the Departed, or late Day of the Departed, because of when it will be uploaded. But Day of the Departed had such a neat concept with old villains coming back. It's just that the time span was the big killer. I wouldn't say it's the writer's fault, because it would say it's more the time. It just couldn't do much within 44 minutes. And it's not bad, but I will say it still deserves D, only because it's just incredibly rushed. I mean, it has such a neat concept. I just wish it was executed better. Then we head over to Hands of Time, another underrated season. Yeah, the animation may not be, the best, but animation is not what we're here for. We're here for the story. The story, yeah, it was very interesting. There were a few parts where it kind of slowed itself down a little bit, but I really like Hands of Time. I really like it. Acronix and Crux are good villains, even if their dialogue's kind of iffy at times. The dialogue is really the only, quote, terrible thing about it. And I'm going to make a video on why you should love Hands of Time more often. And it involves, oh my god, plane, can you stop? Sorry, a plane flew over the house. And I told the plane to go away. Okay. But I'll make a video on why you should appreciate Hands of Time more, because it technically affected one of the quote peaks of Ninjago. But I'm not gonna go into full details. Otherwise I'd spoil the video plan. Next we have Sons of Garmadon. A lot of people say this is the best thing to come from Ninjago. I heavily disagree on this, just like with Tournament of Elements. And just like Tournament of Elements, it will go into C. The only reason, well, I don't really like Harumi as a character. She's alright as a villain, but I don't like her as a character. She seems like a whiny bitch who drowns in her own sorrow. And her voice acting at times is just not good. And I feel like they jumped the gun on Garmadon's return. I personally feel that she should have. I personally feel that Garmadon should have returned in the final episode, the very last scene of the final episode with the hand coming out. That way, I think it would have been a better setup to Hunted. I mean, you would have to redo a lot of stuff to season 9, but I personally feel that ending is better than the one we got. So I'll put it in C. Hunted. Okay, Hunted is not the best thing ever. All right, I'm not gonna put it at S. But I will put it at. It's a very low A. It's a very low A. I don't really care for the first Realm story, and in my opinion, it's not necessary. It wasn't really necessary. It was only there because of the season 8 finale. I wish it could have been built up a bit more, but I did love the Resistance storyline, except for the dare of being, Mr. Poop all the time from South Park. But I liked Hunted. I just wish it was a lot less confusing, and wish it balanced the plot a bit better. To the point where I don't have to go what. Okay, March of the Oni. I really like March of the Oni. A lot of people don't like it because of 4-episode format, but remember, just because the episodes are short doesn't automatically make it a bad thing. I mean, look at the pilots. They're shorter. They're twice the March of the Oni is twice the length of the pilots, and yet the logic doesn't make any sense. Ninjago logic, everyone. But I think it was a really well thought out story. The Cole's fall was very good. Yeah, sure, it had somewhat of an iffy explanation to how he survived, but all that matters is that he survived. I don't care how he survived. I just care that he survived. Yeah, sure, the ending may be a bit rushed. It's not heavily rushed, as people say. It's a bit, but not too much. But I really like the finale. But really, Lloyd should have died there. And in my opinion, this would have been a very perfect end for Ninjago as a whole. And it was a good end to the Masters of Spinjitzu era. So now we're gonna go into. Let me get my drawing tools. Let me just go. Okay, now we're gonna do season 11. Season 11. There were some good moments in it, but there was way too much filler, especially filler that was just nonsensical, not needed, and it was just why is this there? Like Snake Catastrophe didn't need to happen, Kaiju Protocol didn't need to happen, and the Absolute Worst didn't need to happen. The only real good filler episode that came up from this was The News Never Sleeps with Lil Nelson and Antonia. As for the story, well, it was mostly cut. The only reason the fire chapter even happened was Jay was being stupid, and the only reason the ice chapter happened was Zane got a bit too heroic. If those two events never happened, those two chapters wouldn't have happened. And I don't really like that. I want it to be built up to the point where even if you try to think about it, there's no way you could have no way it could have been. It was foretold. I mean, it kind of tried to do that with Zane's vision, but it just doesn't work. It was just executed so piss poorly. The only real point that I gave it for execution on my Instagram was the ice chapter. It had some of the coolest concepts in the entire series, but it just failed to utilize them properly. So I put 11 down here at D. Alright, but that is going to be it for my season tier list. But anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking on that red subscribe button, and click on that notification bell to receive every video that I will upload. And I'll see you folks in the next video. Bye-bye!